Oh yeah.
Alicia Dougherty of the Dougherty Dozen fame, shown here riding that pony. Ride it, Alicia, ride it. Get those hips moving. I can see why Josh loves you of an evening, right? But what happens when that motion, those sexual innuendos, turn out to be directed at a child? This very child, a 6-year-old, received this pony and she is being filmed doing exactly what Alicia's done. And in the wrong hands, directed at the wrong people, which we all know that these people watch these videos. That is perfect pedo fodder. The Dougherty Dozen have been on our screens for the past 4 or 5 years, rocking up, doing what Dougherty does, doing what Alicia does. They became famous for their roll calls where they looked very cult-like.
Dougherty Dozen age roll call.
Alex, how old are you?
17.
James, how old are you?
16.
Nevaeh, how old are you?
15.
Patrick, how old are you?
14.
Deshaun, how old are you?
13.
Bree, how old are you?
12.
Zoe, how old are you?
11.
Dash, how old are you?
9.
Jordan, how old are you?
8.
Jason, how old are you?
8.
Bodie, how old are you?
6.
Harley, how old are you?
4.
There they were, wearing very much the same clothing as each other, and they still continue to do that to this very day, being forced into the same clothes as all their other siblings just to prove that they are the Dougherty Dozen and they belong to us. It's like a school uniform or something like that. But they also gained fame for Alicia's brilliant takes on what they ate for the day.
Here's what my kids ate today. It's Waffle Wednesday. Today I made them a patriotic themed waffle board for breakfast. For lunch, I packed them pizza, celery, Go-Gurt, an orange cup, chips, and Gatorade. They grabbed something from the pantry for their after-school snack.
Alicia portrayed herself as the perfect mother. She could do no wrong. She'd get up at 5 a.m. to make the kids their lunch, their breakfast and their dinner if they have to, but also whilst leaving the food out on the side while she photoed it and filmed it so it all got cold before anybody got to eat it anyway. But deeper, darker secrets were to be had. If you dived a little bit deeper, you would find Alicia revealing a lot about these children who didn't really have any say in it.
Hi everyone, I wanted to talk about children with fetal alcohol spectrum disorders and trauma history in regards to the therapies that we have used and had success with. For the ones with reactive attachment disorder as well, we have used regression therapy. This involves, and it does not matter how old they are, this involves bottles, pacifiers, rocking, singing, a lot of repetitive movements. If you think of infants, when they were infants, they were neglected of the repetitive movements such as rocking, burping, jumping them up and down. Those are a lot of repetitive movements that gets their brains reacting.
Now, while she's talking there very generally about kids and her kids, we know that they are her kids that she's talking about, and she's talking about them in a very embarrassing way. If anybody was to watch that, any of their friends or their enemies or their frenemies would be happen across those videos, and that could be used against some of the kids. Not to mention that none of that should have been put online anyway about their children. And that's not all that she did. She frequently showed us the medicines her kids were taking and what was wrong with her children and things like that. Now, aside from that, a lot of her kids were and are adopted, foster adopt family they are, who have no consent and no business being used for content, because at the end of the day they were not her children. These are not her stories to tell, but we did get to find out a lot about these children.
How we became a family of 13. We are Josh and Alicia Dougherty. After 9 years of infertility, we decided to adopt from foster care. We adopted Alex when he was 5 years old, and 6 days later, we found out we were pregnant with Zoe. The next year, we were asked to adopt James from foster care, and 2 weeks later, we found out we were pregnant with Dash. Then we took foster care placement of Jordan and Jason, and we eventually adopted the twins. During that time, we also gave birth to Bodie and Harley. Soon after, we adopted a sibling group from residential, Bree and Patrick. And in 2022, Deshawn moved in through kinship care, and we now have permanent custody. And that's how we became the Dougherty Dozen.
And that's how they now came to wear the same clothes as every single member of the Dougherty Dozen does every single day. The same clothes as their siblings, as their parents do every day. But as an aside, and an example of why it's wrong for them to have released information about their adopted kids and everything like that. In the past, when they used to have another child who no longer lives with them, that is forever on the internet as proof that she was part of the Dougherty Dozen. She doesn't want to be there now. She isn't there now. It's not your story to tell now. It wasn't your story to tell back then, but she's still on your channel as a member, and she should actually be removed now. But once you post it, it's out there forever. And if any of these children that were adopted are adopted, just go and move on to somewhere, I don't know, right? But if something happens, this information is out there forever now. And you can't take that back. That girl who used to be part of your family probably wishes you could take it back, but you didn't get her consent to do it in the first place. Now it's a regretful situation, and one I'm sure she's probably regretting very much. And you can't take it back because you put it out there in the first place. You thought you were good enough to consent for this child who was not old enough to consent. But, you know, it's there for everybody to see. Can't take it back. After finding a niche, the Dougherty Dozen channel went from strength to strength, getting hundreds of thousands of views every single day for what was essentially the most mundane of videos, but they still did really well. Hundreds of thousands of views. They garnered over 1 million subscribers on their YouTube, more than that on TikTok, 4 million I think it was, and they just went from strength to strength to strength, and they were rolling in it absolutely phenomenally. But then the backlash hit, and it hit hard. Every man and their dog were talking about the Dougherty Dozen now.
I am just enamored with snarking on the Dougherty Dozen. It's something I'm very excited about. She goes to Walmart, she shops too much, she feeds her kids absolute poison and garbage. She gets like weird haircuts and stuff. I don't know about it.
Anyway, so we're going to be talking about the Dougherty Dozen today. Talk about this one video that has actually been deleted. But I've come across it, and Radiant Brit it's popped up in her thing, but I actually wanted to give it a bit of I just wanted to break down what she's saying, and in a nutshell, she's basically saying that can she be exploiting her kids for money when they don't have any money?
The answer to that question is quite categorically yes. You can obviously be exploiting your kids for money when you don't have money. That's quite clearly moron behaviour from Alicia. And you know what else is moron behaviour? It is her defence in the face of adversity. she carried on regardless, despite all the detractors and basically every single person on the entire planet watching to see the downfall of her and her family. It's like watching a car crash. But Alicia cracked on, you know, and she did a great number of things like destroying her kids' health, you know, with the copious amounts of sugar and unhealthy treats that she would get for them. Now, a little while ago, if you've been following the Dougherty Dozen for a while, you'll know that she bought her kids all a mini fridge each, and they get a week's supply of treats of their choosing to put in their mini fridge every single week. Check this out and just see how insane that is.
Bodhi asked for
big hoshi and middle hoshi and small hoshi.
Now that is an insane amount of chocolate to be giving a 7-year-old for a week. That's a week's supply of chocolate for that 7-year-old. I would not even give one of those for a 7-year-old in a week. You know, maximum one, but I would not give my 7-year-old one of those any week, right? At all. They're far too big, far too much chocolate. Don't need it. But there you go. I mean, that's a week's supply, apparently, allegedly, that the 7-year-old is going to eat in a week. You have got to be kidding me. I know there's a certain amount of rage bait in this, but bloody hell, is she insane?
Sean requested
Charlie Squiggles.
Now, this is obviously an older child, can eat more, can make his own mind up about what to eat, but that's still a copious amount of crap in there to be given him for a week's supply.
Patrick asked.
So I counted 27 cans of fizzy drinks, right? 27 for a week's supply for a child. 27, that is divided by 7, it's around about 4 a day, right? And these are proper non-diet type drinks as well. Not suggesting that diet's necessarily great for you, but there's full fat Coke, there's full fat Sprite in there, full fat Fanta. It's all full, right? None of it is any reduced sugar or anything like that. It is complete and utter shit, right? And you're giving your child 4 a day of those. That's insane to me.
4.
Soda.
James wanted
Goldfish.
What the actual hell is in there? Alright, it's full to the brim of shit again.
And Alex asked for
M&M's and Oreos.
So again, absolute nonsense. Full to the brim. Yes, Alex is the oldest. Yes, he's technically an adult. And yes, he can technically eat it all, whatever he wants to eat, right? But it's still, to be giving your kids this amount of shit is insane. Now, it goes back to the fact that they are mainly adopted kids. Most of their kids, bar 4, I think, are adopted, right? So you don't get to adopt kids, give them a safe place, and then inject them full of shit, right? You're supposed to be giving them a loving, nurturing, better upbringing to the one that they had in front of them in the first place. But instead, no, you take them away from what is a bad situation, promise them a good life, but then allow them to be taken advantage of online. You've got Alex over there being hounded wherever he goes, being taken the piss out of by anyone and everyone online and offline. You can't just walk down the street without getting harassed by some random strangers. You've got your kids eating so unhealthily, it's unbelievable. You've got your kids being exploited for money to be paying your bills, and that's not why you adopt children. You adopt children because A, maybe you can't have them yourself, or B, you want to give them a better life to the one which they had been promised previously, and yet you don't do that. You make it so that they have to suffer more. Yes, it's in a different, more discreet way. Some people will say, oh, well, they have a lovely house, they have lots of money, they have food on the table and things like that. And yes, obviously that's true. And that is better, possibly in some ways, than a life of neglect, which they could have suffered from. But in other ways, you're using them and their situation for your own financial gain, which is exploitation. Plain and simple exploitation. However, maybe Alicia pushed it too far. Just a smidge. People got fed up, and fed up they did, and they voted with their feet. Even the haters stopped really hating on them because they're just not relatable. They're not interesting enough to talk about anymore. Not as much as they were. Not when Alicia was right on her game. But her stats on her channel just smacked of they are finished. And as you can see, they've gained 0 subscribers in the past month. 0. That's not good for a growing channel at all. But 11 million views in the last 30 days shows that the channel is still relatively healthy. You know, if you turn that into pounds or dollars as it is over there, right? So if you times it by $10 per 1,000 views, that's around about $11,000 a month. That's still a healthy amount. I don't know if that's enough to feed 13 mouths, but it's still a lot of money. Especially for using your kids for clout and you know, other such things. So that's not too bad, I guess. Now if we look at the daily channel views, they're getting around about 500,000 views in a day, 300, 400, a lot of views in a day. Yeah, decent. As I said, it was 11 million per month, or in the last month at least anyway. But here's where we're going to find out exactly how they have dipped, or where they've dipped significantly. These are the subscribers which they've been gaining, and they just haven't been gaining. If you look here, you've got 10,000 subs they gained in June of this year. But prior to that, the last time they gained any subs at all was in January of 2025. And prior to that, it was all the way back in July of last year. So since, well, in the last 12 months, they've only gained 3 times any form of subs. That's quite bad. You know, for a growing channel, that is horrendous. Now, the one you've all been waiting for, this is, you go down here, these are the gained subscribers. Right, as you can see here, 10,000 in May, 10,000 in January, all the way back in July was 10,000. Now, prior to that, as you can see here, they gained quite a few times, but all the way up here, July of 2023, they gained 70,000 subs in 1 month, and they were gaining decent amounts every single month. From October 2022, 65,000, and it's just like, but then all hell broke loose. I'm guessing that around that time was when all the hate came onto them for doing what they do, and wow, dropped. September 2023, gained 0 subs, probably lost some if I'm guessing. Now, if we have a look here, these are the gained views for each month, and this tells a story in itself. So in September 2022, they had 47 million views in 1 month. October 2022, 82 million views in a month. And that, if you times that by 10 for every $1,000 for every 1,000 views, that equates to $82,000 in a month. That's a shit ton of money, right? That really is a lot of money. And things were going well for them. Not quite as well as October 2022, but still pretty damn well, right? 50 million there, another 50 million there in July of 2023. And then, as we spoke about, all hell broke loose the month after, and September 2023, 15 million views. That's a huge drop. So if you look, it goes from like $50,000 in a month all the way down. September was $26,000, and then October we're looking at $15,000, for example. Obviously the financial figures are estimates, you know, it could be more, it could be less, don't know. And then you look at these figures here, they are just, they're on the way down, atrocious, until you get to here. September 2024, 6.4 million views. That is a huge drop from the 82 million that they had there. October 2024, 5 million. And here, right here, February of 2025, February, just a few months ago, 3.8 million views in a month. 3.8 million views. That's $3,800 possibly, you know. I mean, obviously they have all the brand deals if they can get them, and they have TikTok and things like that, which they get money off, obviously. So this isn't their only income, but it just goes to show the level that they were at to the level that they became, and it's horrendous. I mean, it's almost enough for me to feel sorry for her a little bit, you know. She was riding high, and then all of a sudden her hate train just gathered pace and more pace and more pace, and until the present day, where it's pretty much non-existent anymore. Not even the DCP is actually talking about her on a regular basis. That's how badly and irrelevant she's become, you know. But we can have that conversation. We don't mind. We can keep the conversation alive, because she's still exploiting her children. She's used having adopted kids as a flex, and it should never be a flex. It should never be the way you earn your income. You should never be adopting kids or fostering kids in order to make money. That's not a thing. It never has been a thing. It shouldn't be a thing, and if it is a thing, then they should get reported to the social services. It's not that over there, I know. Yeah, they should get reported. I'm not saying that you should report them, but report them for something that they actually do. But this sort of thing should not be a thing at all. So, in conclusion, Alicia's been a moron. I think she knows that. She's using her children for financial gain as usual. She's filling them full of sugar on a daily basis. I mean, what I've covered in this video isn't even a scratch on the surface of what she does to her kids on a daily basis. So people can say, yes, they have a roof over their head, they have food in their stomachs, they have love and attention and care, and yes, they may have all those things, but they also have additional health problems because of all the crap that they're fed. They are also notorious online. It's not fame, it's infamy. It is actual infamy, and that's not good. You see, again, I mentioned before about Alex. Now, he's a huge target for haters. He actually had, a few years ago, he had a parcel or a letter sent to his home as a joke by somebody taking the piss out of him, and that's not nice, right? And that is what you're putting your children in front of. And Alex, as we know, is an adopted child, right? So you have a greater responsibility to protect his best interests because he's an adopted child. Yes, protect all your kids, obviously, but you've taken him in because he's come from a troubled environment when he was younger, and you've turned that situation to your own advantage, and you shouldn't do that. Anyway, let me know in the comments down below what you think about this. Did you know any of this before? Were the figures that I showed eye-opening? I might do some more of those for other family channels as well. The profit and loss sort of situation going on there. And let me know what you think about all this in the comments down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Are you a Dougherty hater? Let me know and hit that subscribe button. Thank you all so much for your time. Until next time, have an amazing, more unfilled day. Take care and bye-bye.